Is it happening?
I think it's happening.
Well, the scratch a dog butt, it's on for sure. But for sure, no. Right? Cat? What's up, dude?
Well, there we go. All right, it's up. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Houston with a Problem. It's Monday. We're going to do a little short 60-minute show. And then late tonight, I will do GeoGuessr. And tomorrow is Charity Tuesday. That snuck up on me. I haven't even thought of a charity yet. So if you have charity ideas, throw them at me. Because I have not settled on one yet. And I'd like to get the show set up tonight so that everyone's ready for tomorrow. And we can celebrate Charity Tuesday. Okay. So yeah, by all means, send me your charity ideas for this month. I don't know, like, I guess kids are going back to school. Maybe we can do like a school supplies one or something. I'll have to look and see what those are. I don't know, give me some ideas. We got Charity Tuesday. We've got still more 50-cent wish items to give away. So I'm gonna do show tomorrow. I don't think I'll get to one on Wednesday. On Wednesday, I plan on spending a good chunk of the day at the post office so I can finally send off stickers to everybody. Because remember, stickers have come in, and I would like to send them to you. So if you mail me a self-addressed stamped envelope, I will send you a sticker. And if you are among the first 24 or so senders, I will also send you a mystery package from Michael Mystery. Who knows what they are? Could be a pen, could be a back scratcher, I have no idea. But you'll get something random in the mail. So, yes, I've got boxes of things to give away to everybody. So, keep that in mind. News today, Brandon Meadows, his claim got jettisoned. So, the whole $11.8 billion claim that we were thinking had to do with some sort of fund, maybe, money that JP Morgan's going to have to pay, etc. But it does appear as though the bankruptcy court is trying to wrap things up. It appears they want to get things done by the end of September, because by October 23rd is when creditors can dictate how the bankruptcy is going to go. So basically, you got 18 months from when you file to get everything reorganized and have your plan done and be coming out, or the creditors get to dictate what's going on. And my guess is, I think the creditors already are on this thing. I think a credit bid has already been made. It just hasn't been revealed to us. So here we are, sitting and waiting. Any other news? I'm looking at the cat, as a few will know, and he's like, bed. There he goes. So I can't think of anything else. So I'm just gonna do classic. Boom. Is that it? That was it. Turn it off. There we go. Okay, so let's get into it. What's on your minds? GDC was first. GDC says, justice too long delayed is justice denied. Martin Luther King Jr. Clearly none of the BBY judges have ever heard of this, right? Any case, boom. Second. Mail came. I've not done anything about it yet. It's on the pile of things I need to deal with on Wednesday. I got a lot of things to go through and mail and wrap up and whatnot. But thank you. Jason Blackwell, Houston, a bunch of Asian bears escaped from the zoo. It was pandemonium. Chillface, third. Actually, I think you're fourth. Truth Seeker, hello. Colin S. Fabrizio's plopping. Kyle Garibaldi, numero 7. GDC, RC's tweet about weekend at Bernie's was about the market being propped up, right? All-time highs? Yeah, the Dow had an all-time high today. Things are weird, right? Like, we know that the Japanese yen carry trades are bad. Like, they thought, it's about 3.5 trillion worth. It was like 20 trillion. And not just a bunch on the U.S. side, but a bunch on the Chinese side. I mean, Chinese investors were going to Japan, borrowing yen, taking that yen, going to China, dumping into their markets, and their markets are like, anyway. And now the yen is strengthening against the dollar and other currencies quite steadily. I think we're down to like 143, 142 yen per dollar, where it was at almost 170 back in May and June. So these guys are screwed. And now the Federal Reserve is talking about cutting interest rates in the U.S., which means returns will start dropping in the U.S. as the Japanese yen is strengthening, meaning all the folks involved in these carry trades are going to get burned really, really bad. They may end up starting to owe more in yen than they made in dollars. And, oops. So that sounds brutal. Then we got the commercial real estate market, which, 2 buildings in the last 2 weeks in Baltimore. Baltimore's a big city. It's 700,000 people. It's got a major downtown urban core. 2 major buildings, both several 100,000 square feet, both sold for under $4 million each. That's ridiculous. Can you imagine buying a 250,000 square foot building for $3 million? Like, you know what? Let's calculator time this sucker. Bing. Okay, turn that off. Go to the Hujima, what's it? Bing, there you go. Okay, you have a $3.1 million building, right? 250,000 square feet. You bought it for, what? Like $14 a square foot or something? Something really ridiculous. All right, so I'm guessing, let's say it's 10,000 square feet of floor, so you got 25 stories. Generally, like if you're in a downtown area like Seattle, if you want to rent an entire floor of a skyscraper, this is pre-pandemic, right? You're probably paying $30,000 to $100,000 a month. So let's slash that, right? Let's slash it, because you just got this building for a steal. You can take all the people who do need offices from the entire city, and you can rent it out for, I don't know, $10,000 a floor. Okay, so you're making $250,000 a month. If you get the entire thing rented out, right? $3,000 a month for 12 months, and you just made your money basically in your first year. Now you're gonna have upkeep and things like that, so you probably can do some sort of, probably can do a bond. I mean, a $3 million bond. Okay, you're doing a $3 million bond to buy that building. You're paying 6%. interest. So you're paying $180,000 a year for 5 years, and then you have a balloon interest at the end, right? So let's imagine that this is pretty close to the bottom of the market, and you're doing $250,000 a month. You're clearing close to $3 million a year, and you owe $180,000 of that towards your interest. And as long as you save up over the next 5 years, you'll have $15 million ish, $14-15 million, and you should be able to pay off the bond if you want, and just go straight for full ownership. Or you could probably, the building could be worth even more, sell it for a profit by that time, because maybe, the commercial real estate markets figure itself out in 5 years. Whoever's getting these buildings, I think, are going to be able to do some pretty incredible things with them. So, and they're only going to get cheaper as the year goes on, because more and more of these buildings are going to be going to default. And as they go into default, it's going to bring prices down elsewhere. Remember, Wells Fargo's got $48 billion unrealized losses right now. The commercial real estate market has dropped over $500 billion in value just this year, and there's upwards of $1 trillion in commercial bonds that are coming due by the end of the year, and over $2 trillion that are due by the following year. So it's gonna get wild, real wild, right, Fatso? Yeah. What do you think? So yeah, things are being propped up for sure. Now, when the time comes and sacrifices have to be made, who's getting the axe? Remember, 20 years ago, there were 9,500 banks in the United States. Today, there's 4,000. That means they culled more than half the banks in existence just in the last 20 years. Now, a whole bunch of them went under in the global financial crisis. A bunch of them have since been merged and created larger banks and stuff like Umpqua out here in the West Coast has just been gobbling up every little bank they possibly can. So they're just burp, 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 burp. So who survives? Which big banks go down? Last time around, they lost Wachovia, they lost Washington Mutual. Those are probably the two biggest that went under. Chase, Wells Fargo, and Bank of America grew a lot. Citibank grew. Which one of those big boys are toast? My money is on Bank of America 1. Although Bank of America might get bailed out because of their Merrill Lynch connections. So, they own an investment bank. So, and that investment bank basically owns BlackRock. So they got that going for them. But who goes down? Wells Fargo, I think, is toast. I think Wells Fargo's doesn't they don't have any of their financial powerhouses anymore. They got rid of their trading platform. They got rid of their mortgages. They got rid of their credit cards. They got rid of their bank loan, their business loans and their personal loans. What do they even have other than just depositors at this point? They have almost no way to make money. So, Leo B, Houston. I'm curious if you think RC is really Republican for tax purposes, or could he just have been using his Trump tweets, testing if his Trump tweets were being suppressed. No GME success equals no profit tax after all. I know he's libertarian, and libertarians generally, push comes to shove, vote Republican. I have no idea if he's a citizen or not, or if he's just here on green card residency status. He's Canadian. He's been here for a decade, so he might have citizenship by now. But I think if you're going to test things like that, why choose somebody who will just bifurcate your entire followers? Doesn't make any sense to me. See, I know he's a bit trolly. He likes to troll, but making half of your investors go is not the best way to go about it. So I honestly, I don't know. He could have been. It'd be nice if he came out and said that. But it's you can test other ways without invoking Trump, I guess. Antoine Scott, I'm also here early. You were. Ford ZZ9, is the Kansas City Shuffle for everyone to look at Ryan going bullshit doing bullshit instead of all the documents dropping today? I think the Kansas City Shuffle was... I don't know if it worked. I think the Kansas City Shuffle was supposed to be, I buy a whole bunch of options and then sell those options and buy shares or execute them or whatever while the stock is freaking flying because these swaps are coming due. And I think the Kansas City Shuffle would have worked incredibly well for DFV, had GameStop not diluted. I think their dilution on Friday the 7th, just got Roaring Kitty right in the heart a little bit, because he would have been a billionaire by the end of that day easily if they hadn't diluted. So he took it in stride. He's still worth hundreds of millions of dollars. So he did his you were a billionaire post. So I think them diluting kind of ruined the plan he had for his Kansas City Shuffle. He still managed to go and get a whole bunch of Chewy shares. We have no idea what else he's invested in at the moment. There have been some illusions, in that he's alluded to Bed Bath & Beyond, especially with his video using the music from the PP show. So, the shuffle may be going on, or the shuffle may have been completely tripped over their own dick type thing because of the dilution on the 7th. So, but you have to expect that more bed bath documents are going to keep dropping because it really does appear that they want to get this thing wrapped up by the end of September. So here we sit, doing that thumb twiddle we're all so famous for. GDC, is RC rooting for Trump, aka likely market crash? The RC can finally start investing the GME $4 billion. Maybe. I mean, you'd have to ask him. I honestly don't know. I think it's kind of an evil way to go about it. Because like market crashes come. They come. They just come in cycles. They're going to come anyway. I think a market crash is coming regardless of who's in office, just because of commercial real estate alone is going to bring it about and just axe bank after bank after bank. So I just don't think you have to root for him to get that to happen. I know that's exactly what Warren Buffett's waiting on. He's got $280 billion in cash just waiting. Got their arms crossed, and they're waiting for this thing, for the floor to give out. And, I've seen enough graphs of the summer of 2008 compared to this summer showing that you had market quivers a whole bunch early in the summer, and then it bounced back, and then just in September, just bottom fell out. So we could see it before the election. It happened in 2008. It happened before the election. So we'll see what happens with this, and how far that $4 billion can go. I saw a great. I think it was Region Formal pointing out on Reddit the other day mergers that have worked out incredibly well. Like, Facebook bought Instagram for $1 billion, and now it does like $70 billion a year in advertising. Or Google buying YouTube for $1 billion, and now it does like $100 billion a year in advertising. So there are mergers out there that can really pay off for the folks who bought it. I have no idea what type of growth one can expect from a retail sector versus an internet company that can get eyes of billions of people around the world. But maybe the holding company will expand well beyond traditional retail and go into weird things like video platforms and stuff. I guess we'll have to see, right? Daniel Moots, cred. Just reset the chat. Oh, sorry, Frozen State Productions. One sec. Talk about raining diamonds on Uranus. What? I've heard about raining diamonds on Uranus. I don't know if it actually happens. I mean, the atmosphere of the gas giants are incredible, and they're more incredible on the super big ones like Jupiter and Saturn than they are Neptune and Uranus. But in order to rain diamonds, might be micro diamonds, maybe, but in order to create diamonds, you need carbon, lots of pressure. In order to rain, you need evaporation, or at least some sort of convection zone that can bring these things up from deep below. And I don't quite necessarily understand how the diamonds would get into the upper atmosphere so that it can rain. That part, maybe the raining diamonds during first formation, when the differentiation was happening in the atmosphere and the planet, and all the heavy stuff was sinking down and the light stuff was floating up. But I've never really quite bought into the whole raining diamonds in Uranus. Now, there can be diamonds at the center of the gas giants, because you have lots of carbon. The whole thing is just, and so the rocky core, which is usually Earth size, maybe a little bigger, surrounded by these giant atmospheres that are tens of thousands of miles wide, hundreds of thousands of miles wide. Then cover those guys, but I was skeptical of the diamond raining in Uranus. But a bedazzled anus is a sight to behold, though. So, I'd look into it. Corporal Walnut, are you hyped for the Oasis reunion? I was never that big on Oasis. I know they were really big on themselves. Like Noel and Liam were like, we're bigger than the Beatles. I'm like, oh, okay. But I never thought they were that exciting. I don't know. Like of the Britpop of the era, I would take the Stone Roses over Oasis. I would take Blur. I would take Big Audio Dynamite. Who else do I like a lot from that era? No New Tale to Tell. Kitty. Who am I thinking of? What am I thinking of? Oh my gosh. My brain's farting. Love and Rockets. There we go. I'd take them. I dig Love and Rockets. Yeah, but Oasis, they're all right. They're okay. I mean, they come on the radio. I'm not like yes. It comes on the radio. I'm like in 4 minutes this will be over. And that's thank you. It's Seagull got Love and Rockets in there. Yeah, they're all right. They're okay. I just was never excited about them. How did I lose my spot? I was about to do whose? Danny Motes, that's right. Danny Motes, hey, happy birthday. How the is this GME saga taking so long? Wouldn't they want MOAS quickly to build a lifelong investor base? I want short term, not long term. Agreed. Like, cool. GameStop is building something awesome to long term for the future. Fantastic. I don't care about that. I want MOAS. It's my money, and I want it now. I want a big explosion in price. I want to absolutely brutalize the short hedge funds and the family funds and the market makers so they can't do this crap anymore, and then take that cash and then diversify it. That's what I want. If I have to wait 30 years for this thing to pay off, cool. But I'd like to be able to enjoy my life the way it is now, or like at my age now, because all I'm going to do is get older and more broken and be able to do less cool things I want to do. So let's do it now so we can do the cool things. Ryan Cohen's got all the time in the world. He's a billionaire. What does he care, right? He's worth billions of dollars. He can do all the cool things he wants right now. So to him, it's not time is of the essence. So granted, he's going to do what he's got to do, and we're just going to be the impatient kids in the back seat going, are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? So we just wait. Mr. JJ. I fell asleep watching Houston about 2 weeks ago and then realized a few days later that I was somehow a member. My one and only membership. Yes, I believe were gifted one when the gifting happened. And Adam Davey, Houston. What determines whether one can trade options on stocks? When will No Labs allow options? Oh, not like individual options, like options for stocks they're created. My guess is that in order for options contracts start to get written, No Labs may have to get their price up to a certain level, because they had options when they first went to the New York Stock Exchange. They briefly had options, but their price was like $4 a share at the time. And then they dropped down. I think options stopped getting written because their price is so low. So that's probably a factor. Another factor is how big is the free float. So like Costs doesn't have options because there's only 5 million shares in the float. So that's just not enough to write significant contracts. They don't do it. So my guess is that that's what they're waiting on. They're waiting for the price to be a little higher, a little more stable. And they're waiting on, and I think they have enough free float to do it. So that's probably the one thing they're waiting on. I'm Davey. I have plenty of no shares and want to start selling calls for income. Noted. Not a bad idea. I mean, let's say the stock price gets up to something reasonable, a couple bucks, right? So for $1,000 right now, you can buy 3,000 to 4,000 shares. That's enough for 30 to 40 contracts. The price gets up to a few dollars. You can start writing those contracts for, let's say, $100 a week. So you can be doing $3,000 to $4,000 a week from that when options become available. And granted, if they get FDA approval and they go, you get absolutely fucked. But so, but yeah, that is a way to generate some income. Ghost host, boom de yada. Indeed. Mr. JJ, what's your take on can girls? Like the can like yeah, those girls. I don't know if I've actually seen a can girl outside of like a Bugs Bunny cartoon or a Wild West movie where they were part of some sort of vaudeville act in the saloon. I've never seen I've been to like a burlesque show. But I don't really do can. They sort of do fancy strip teases with tassels and go like this. But I'm sure can girls are stand-up individuals. I have no complaints. I've never heard anything bad about a can girl. I'm sure those cans can do. Turkish, are we getting equity or not, Wadowski? I think we are. Luger Speed, do you think Rosa is still actively working on the MMTLP lawsuit, and do you think we'll hear from her again? I have no idea. Back in March, she was like, hey, wait for Ramadan to be over and I'll come on the show. And then Ramadan was over and I messaged her and heard nothing. Then she got married and I wished her happy birthday and happy marriage and heard nothing. And so I have no idea. I have none. I would love for Rose to come back on and explain to us and kind of go through what's happening with other cases as well. In her legal opinion, things are happening. But, she's newly married. She's working like crazy. She's got a lot on her plate, so I don't blame her at all if she's like, I can't. So like I am as on the importance list, doing a show with Houston's probably way down there somewhere. So, but all the best to her. I hope she's kicking as much ass as she can. BOH. Seconding the question about Rosa, would very much like an update on the lawsuit. Me too. It'd be great. Mr. JJ, was Roger Rabbit really framed? I think so. I think he was a little goofy oddball, and I don't think he did anything wrong. But for me to be sure, I have to watch Who Framed Roger Rabbit again, and I think the last time I saw Who Framed Roger Rabbit was the fall of 1990. In my cousin's living room in New Jersey. So it's been almost 34 years. So, and plus, I was watching it with a 9-year-old's mind. And I'm sure there's a lot of adult jokes that just went way over my head in that. And I should probably watch it again just so that I can, refresh myself on that. But there's a lot of movies I have to watch. I still haven't watched The Green Slime. I feel terrible about that. But yeah, there's a lot of things out there. Attaining oneness, you rock God. Here Trump might be signaling a backing out of debate with Kamala Harris, and Kamala wants Trump to not have a muted mic. Genius move from Kamala Harris' campaign. If I were Trump, I would be terrified to debate Kamala. Now, a lot of people are like, oh, Kamala, she has a 93% conviction rate as a prosecutor. Donald Trump is a convicted felon, right? She's of the ilk of you don't ask a question you don't already know the answer to, right? And so my guess is that what she's working on is getting Trump to admit to even more crimes while at the lectern. So it's so he's sort of laying the groundwork. There's like gonna back out of this thing. He's gonna blame potential debate hosts. I think it's probably gonna be like George Stephanopoulos or something who's the host. But he's gonna try to claim that it's gonna be Donna Brazile or someone like that who's and he's gonna pull out. He's already complaining that she's not going on Fox and whatnot. But like this debate was the one that had been established with the Biden-Harris campaign, months ago. And all of a sudden now he's scared of it, even though he was fine if it was Biden. Like, maybe Biden should be like, well, I'll debate you on the 10th and see if he goes for it, and then have Kamala show up. But yeah, so I'm still wondering if Trump's going to be in the country by the 17th. So the debate's supposed to be on the 10th. The 18th, he gets sentenced in New York. So he's got to be in New York to face sentencing. And that sentencing has the potential to immediately remand him into jail if he gets contempt. So, I've read that his campaign people are upset because he's just playing golf all the time and not doing much else. It looks like in Georgia, Kemp is trying to figure out how to jettison 3 members of the elections board because they seem wholly determined to put their thumb on the scale and not allow for a free and fair election in Georgia, which I think was part of Trump's plan. Is like, hey, if we flood these election boards with partisans, then it doesn't matter if we get the most votes because they just won't certify the election. So we'll see where it goes. It's going to be, if anything, it's going to be an eventful next 3 months. That's for sure. Ryan, shout out to Monkey Butt and the Fat Cat and Kitten. Oh yeah, the kitten's downstairs. We'll probably on Thursday. The kitten's like in sort of isolation because she still hasn't gotten her shots and everything. But we'll do a show Thursday because we're probably not going to be doing one on Wednesday. Do a show Thursday, and I'll have Ernest bring up the tiny little kid. She's an adorable little murder monster. She's like that big, just the tiniest. She's maybe 6 weeks old or so. If you guys don't know the story, so Roommate works at a grocery store. He gets to work. Actually, he woke up that morning. He was like, "Oh, I want a kitten," and then gets to work, and there's a homeless guy, having a heart attack with a duffel bag full of kittens in front of the grocery store. So they call an ambulance, and as he's getting low in the ambulance, the store manager's like, "Take the kittens." And then he vanished forever. No one knows what happened to the homeless guy, and all of a sudden there's just a duffel bag full of kittens. So everybody in the grocery store just started divvying them up, and they had no idea if they were weaned. They were really tiny. Like some of them, still really squinty. They're just little nuggets. So my roommate took the last one, and his best friend, he's a cat lady. He's got like 6 of them and like 5 dogs. He's got a little domestic animal farm. He's raised kittens before, so my roommate gave him the kitten for 2 weeks to make sure the kitten got weaned and everything, and got all the formula and became a strong little bugger. So now she came home this weekend, and she's here, and we got a little kitten in the house. Until the Batman is already like, he met the kitten once, went like, buddy. The thing's the size of, like, smaller than your fupa, that's for sure. Yeah. That's right. Look at that thing. Blah, 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 blah. You're just, yeah, give me the side eye. It's your primordial pouch. But yeah, so we got a little kitten. She's really adorable, and she's very exploratory, and she likes to murder. What's up, monks? What's up? You hear me talking about kittens? Huh? And you're like, oh, is it animal time? Maybe. Maintaining oneness, the footage of Kamala Harris dunking on Tulsi Gabbard and ending her political career showed me she can throw down. Also, F Tulsi Gabbard. F and Nazi she is. Yeah. Never told you about my connection to Tulsi Gabbard? I mean, I never met her personally, but I rented from her cult. So she's a member of this sect of Hare Krishnaism known as the Butler Group, led by this cult leader named Chris Butler. And they're based in Hawaii. And they operate more like a mafia than anything else, and they definitely seek out and brainwash members. I ended up renting from them, so I moved to Hawaii for school in 2003, and dorms were full, so I was like, all right, I'll just go to the youth hostel, just hang out there and find a place to live, thinking like it's anywhere else. You just go, give them rent money, and people are like, cool, welcome aboard. It's a college town, so you'd think there'd be, and there wasn't. It was very much like, we don't rent to white people. I'm like, oh, huh. this is what it's like to be on the other side of that. Interesting. So I was at the youth hostel for a month, and you're allowed to be there for 30 days. After 30 days, they're like, get the fuck out. And so I'd made some friends, and we were all looking for houses together. And eventually, these two girls that we were looking for, they found a place. Like, good for them. And then me and my buddy Dave, we couldn't find a place, and we ended up living in Dave's van for a while on the bushes while we were looking. And finally, in the back of the paper, I saw this ad pop up, and it was, I think it was $350 every 2 weeks, month to month, whatever. And I was like, you know what, it's something. So Dave and I went, and the house had just been sort of remodeled, really cheaply, but it was an old Kamaina home. They put down like new linoleum and painted some walls, and that was it. But we're like, hey. We're like, yeah, upstairs, you guys, you're welcome to use the kitchen. The downstairs belongs to the landlord. He puts people in here at time to time, like, whatever, man, it's place. And so Dave got one room, I got another room. We move in on a Saturday, and Sunday we wake up to a Hare Krishna drum circle happening outside, and we're like, oh, we just rented from Hare Krishna's. Interesting. And it was the most fucked up place. So basically, the Shankar, who was the guy in charge of this particular commune that we were renting from, he ran a noni fruit farm. And if you don't know what noni is the most disgusting fruit ever to be birthed from a tree. It kind of looks like if you scraped all the faces of every teenager in a middle school and packed it into a ball. That's what it looks like, and it doesn't taste much different than that, probably. It's disgusting. And so what they would do is they've got this noni fruit farm, they pick all the noni fruit, and then they smush it into a juice, and then they have this giant, 1,000-gallon tank that was underneath my window that they would ferment the juice in. And it smelled terrible. It smelled like death. And then they bottle it up, and because it smells terrible, and they claim it's got a superfood, hippies pay a fortune for it, and people in Asian cultures, in Korea, Japan, China, they'll pay a fortune for it too. So it sells for $100 a gallon. So they package it up, ship it out, and they're doing, a couple $100,000 a month off this noni juice that they're shipping all over the world. On top of that, he also owned a big chunk of forest out in Pune, 1,000 acres or something. And he sort of leveled them all into 1 acre plots, and then he would sell them owner financed. And some people would buy them and then build a house on them. Other people would pay for a year, grow a bunch of pot on it, and then default and walk away, and he would just sell it again. So he's doing, probably $400,000 or $500,000 a month off of that land. So he's making, we're making upwards of $1 million a month as this little group, and he would take all of that money and send it to Chris Butler after they pay little salaries and whatnot. But any profits went straight to Chris Butler back in Honolulu, where Tulsi Gabbard was in. Her family are Chris Butler's sort of enforcers, and he was facing legal issues in the state. So Tulsi was somewhat normalized. She had actually gone to college, and so they made her sort of the face of the group to become politically active, and she ended up getting elected to I think it was a state legislature. Anywho, how these people recruit folks is pretty interesting, because there are hitchhikers all over the place. Hawaii is a place where there's dirty hippies galore. They show up and they're like, I'm never wearing shoes again, man, and then just walking around panhandling, whatever. And so from where we lived to the farm was probably 25 miles or so. And my landlord would get in his truck, drive out to the farm, be a hippie hitchhiking along the road, and they'd hop in. And he'd get a little story from him, and he'd be like, hey, do you have any money? They're like, oh, I got nothing, man. He'd be like, oh, do you want to earn $75? That sounds pretty good. It's like, yeah, just come work on my farm for a day. I'll pay $75 cash. And they're like, far out. So they go to the farm, you show them what's up, they have them pick some fruit and fertilize things and do hippie things. And then at the end of the day, he's like, here's your 75. Wait, do you have a place to stay? And they're like, no, bro, I'm homeless. I'm just a leaf on the wind. And he'd be like, oh, well, I can give you the $75, or I'll give you a place to stay for the night and food. And I'm like, well, that sounds pretty cool. I guess I'll take a place to stay and some food. And by place to stay, he meant the floor of my living room. And by food, he meant my food in the fridge. And so these hippies would show up and they start working for him, basically slaves, because he wasn't paying them anything. And then he'd slowly convert them into his Hare Krishna cult, and then they would be locked in. So yeah, that's the Butler Group in a nutshell. There's a lot more stories about raw fruitarians going mad, people getting their heads shut in car doors. The place was bonkers. I could not wait to get out, but I was stuck there for about a year before I finally found somebody who would rent to a white guy and got the hell out of there. But anywho, yeah, Tulsi Gabbard came from a very, very, very conservative background. Like, do you think these hippies, like, they're like peace and love? They're not. These dirty hippies are essentially, they were like one life decision away from becoming a dirty hippie or a neo-Nazi. Like, they grew up hard. Every single one of them grew up hard. And so they're like that horseshoe theory. Like they go left, then boom, all of a sudden they're just on this like really fascist far end, controlling people's lives part of it. And so Tulsi came from that, very anti-LGBTQ, very conservative, but she ran as a Democrat, and she basically denounced everything the Butler Group stands for. No, I'm all for, LGBT rights and minority rights and blah blah blah. I'm Hindu. She's Hare Krishna, and so for years people were like, she's lying. This is she was actively working against gay rights in Hawaii until she decided to run for office. Then she just eschewed it, and when she came to prominence after endorsing Bernie Sanders, it started to be revealed that she was receiving a lot of money from foreign sources. She was getting money that was basically being laundered through Indian nationals living in the U.S., and some they've been citizens, from the RSS, which is this paramilitary group that's behind Modi in India, and like they're really fascist. They idolize Hitler. They want to build camps all over India because they want to murder all 200 million Muslims. They're super nationalist, religious fanatics, and they're funding her. And then she got funding from like Bashar al-Assad in Syria, and funding from Kremlin. She's now on a no-fly list because basically she's been flagged as a potential unregistered foreign agent, which basically means spy, right? It's what Flynn was, it's what Manafort was. So all of a sudden now that she's not running for Democratic president, she's back to her conservative beliefs that everyone said she always had all along, and is now homophobic and everything else that she was raised to be. But yeah, she made it. She was in Congress for years. I'll admit she's a hot lady. She's a smoke show. She's a good surfer. But I don't trust her. And yeah, Kamala Harris destroyed her in that debate. Absolutely wiped the floor with her. And for some reason, she's consulting Trump on how to debate Kamala. And Kamala, like, why would you have that lady do it? Because Kamala ended her career. So, yeah. Short shows. I'm doing too much pontificating and not enough question answering. Sorry. Okay. BOH. Also, it's currently 96 degrees with a heat index of 101 where I am in the middle of in the state of misery. It's like 65 and raining outside right now. It's pretty comfortable. Actually, we had, I believe it was Friday and Saturday were the two coldest days in a row since 2010, and we didn't even reach 60 degrees on Friday, which is I don't think ever happened in August. Like the average in August is like 77 here in Seattle, and we were at 59 and never even hit 60. Sir Barther, what the F with this tweet, RC? Did RC do a new tweet? And I totally missed it. What the hell? There we go. Okay. Orion Q in. Oh, weekend at Biden's. Okay. Yeah. So that's what he did. Cool. I mean, Biden dropped out, so he's kind of late to the game on that one. But Weekend at Bernie's is a fantastic movie. That's one that'll stick with you. Yeah, well, you guys can't see what I'm doing here because I don't have it up. Okay, blink. There we go. Okay, so he's got Weekend at Biden's here. I mean, it's implying that Biden is dead and he's being paraded around as though he's still alive, so that Kamala and Obama can party at his house in Long Island. So, what was funny about this, about the poster, is that it's in the Hamptons and they got palm trees. But anyway, yeah, cool. It's a pretty awesome meme. I don't know what he's trying to do. Biden's no longer running for president, so there you go. I like some cattail karaoke. Yeah, come up here for cattail karaoke, fat guy. Why are you being a floor cat? Huh? Come on. Come on. Hey. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come up here. Boy. There we go. Fat guy. Testing. 1, 2. Cattail karaoke. Yes. You're up here. You're getting your butt scratched. And that cattail is just tantalizing everybody like a little Loch Ness monster coming above the waves. Just don't try to plug anything into the base of that cattail's mic. All right, Stephanie L. Sup? I got a notice about a cash stock option for IEP, and they want me to submit instructions. What does that mean? Because IEP is these weird units, it's not technically stock. You have to inform them, I guess, every quarter that you would like to receive either cash or your dividend in as more shares. So if you don't want to pay taxes, you just take the dividend as more shares, then you get even more the next quarter and so on. That's what Carl Icahn does. So that's it. You just tell them if you want cash or if you want shares for your dividend. And you have to do that every quarter with IEP. I'm sure some brokers you can get it set up, so they'll just automatically do that. But as far as I've seen, you have to just tell them every quarter. That's what you're going to do. GL 2023, Houston, I recommend the Human Fund. Money for people. MS What Time Charity Tuesday show? Probably 2:30 p.m. Pacific tomorrow. Is generally when I try to do it. That gives us a couple hours. We'll raise $1,000 or more, and be pretty awesome. Really stupid, Houston. What do I get if I send you a self-addressed stamped envelope with a picture of my package? You get a sticker. One for you, maybe a sticker for you and a sticker for your package. Fat cat looks fur. He is definitely. He eats so little. I feed him such a tiny amount of food, but I think the steroids make him retain so much water. Like, if I could wring him out like a sponge, maybe he'd be a skinny cat or something. But he definitely has a lot of muscle to him. Like, he's fat, but he's like got some beef to him. But yeah, you are a fat turd, cat. Definitely. Sweetheart, but my goodness, you're just a bowling ball. Season 54, Trump, the coward, attempting to run away from the debate. RC weekend at Biden's tweet. RC just hell-bent on being unlikable? I have honestly no idea, because, a year ago, he was tweeting like, companies should not take positions on stuff. And granted, he's an individual, not a company itself, but he leads a company. I don't know what his goal is. I mean, maybe he's just really, 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 really into Ken Griffin's chosen candidate, and that's just what he's all about. I have no idea. Chris Taylor, thinking about some IEP calls. I don't think IEP is going to do anything huge until they unveil whatever their plan is to do with all that money they've been amassing. Because they just sold another like $400 million and stuff through Jeffries. So they're putting together billions in cash. I guess we'll just have to see what they're trying to do with it. Pete Donnelly, 84. Our construction union here in Australia is marching today after being placed into administration, sacking over 280 union officials by the federal government. Wish us luck. Dang. That's a big construction union. I don't know if we have construction unions that big. There's like individual trade unions for like welders and things. But what, like, is there big construction unions in the US still? Yes, construction unions. NABTU, North American Building Trades Union. Okay, so there are some big ones still. I would know that some Russian mafia got kicked out. What union was it in Kansas? It was Kansas, right? Kitty, you were reading the articles, right? The mafia had like taken hold of a union in Kansas, and the federal government basically just arrested the union leaders and now control the union until like proper leadership can be elected again. But they the mob took over and were basically just strong arming everyone, as can happen, as we've seen throughout history. But yeah, so is that why they got sacked by the federal government in Australia? You have a bunch of like mafioso ruining things. Mossy Habitat, everyone focuses on RC's Trump tweets, which is unfortunate, but ignore his Kamala tweets. In one tweet, both Trump and Kamala together, coffee cups. There's that one, and then the Kamala 2069. Yeah, I mean, they all seem to be somewhat negative towards her. So I think that's why people pay attention to that. I don't think he's endorsing anyone, but is signaling nothing will happen until after election and or testing the X Twitter algo with blatant copy-paste. BBBYQ Brandon, got my first job in 3 years, 1 month after family business burned down. Will be easy to fatten my portfolio in the next month. Oh, goodness. Congrats on the job. Bummer on the family business burning down. I hope you got insurance or something that will help mitigate that. Citizen 54, I wouldn't mind Congress investing in the market as much if they legislated for the people. Universal health care, low middle class taxes, big budget public education, etc. But here we are. Like, I think what you should be able to do is have some sort of blind trust or pension or whatever they can invest in, and then just they can stick money in there if they want, and then it does what it does. But they don't get to see what the trades are or know what anything is going on behind the curtain. But yeah, we definitely need more legislation to help people. Universal health care is one of the greatest things we could possibly do as a nation. Like, we got wait times, right? We have 800,000 doctors to serve 335 million people. There's wait times. But those wait times get exacerbated by the fact each one of those doctors isn't an employee, they're a contractor with like admission rights at hospitals or offices. Or they own their own little clinic or something. And if they were employees, they show up, they do they check you out for your appointment, they send you on your way, they see the next client, what's so on. But what ends up happening is that individual doctor has to also be a business owner because they're a contractor, meaning they got to figure out how to pay the nurses, how to pay the hospital administration fees, how to go through the billing, how to do all the insurance paperwork. Like, they have to spend so much time administering in their role that it eats away 20 to 40% of their time that they could be seeing patients. If we just had a universal healthcare system where people don't have to worry about, insurance payments, co-pays, premiums, and that stuff, they just show up to the doctor's on salary, he sees them on their way, the next patient, and that's all we had, we would shorten wait times in the US probably by, 2 weeks, if not more. We'd cut those wait times in half. And it would save us $2.2 trillion a year as of 2021 dollars by having a system like that. Because there's 800,000 doctors, there's well over 1 million administrators and insurance bureaucrats to make all that stuff happen. So you just they can go find jobs elsewhere, right? So yeah, we could do it so much better than we are doing it now, and the doctors wouldn't make any less, right? Let's say a doctor is making $1 million a year, but he's paying hundreds of thousands of dollars to accountants, to secretaries, to nurses, to all sorts of things that he wouldn't need if we had a universal system. And in that place, you give him $600,000 a year. And he's like, oh, it's a pay cut. Wait a minute, it's more than I take home now. Agreed, right? So there's ways around it. We can totally improve the system. Sad boy. Houston took a job as a snowmaker for this winter. Any news on no labs and Wall Street firms are starting to freeze hiring. So I'm going to the mountains. No news on no labs, but yes, I totally get that Wall Street firms are not just freezing things, but they're probably going to be laying people off here in a couple of months. So unless you are already a big boy in that domain, I don't think there's going to be too many jobs. But yeah, go to the mountains. Because why not? I think it's going to be, we got La Nina going on. It's probably going to be a big snow year in some places. So get it. Attaining oneness, Comrade Kamala hopefully will actually do communism. Lol, thanks, Obama. I love it when people are like, they're communists. Like, really? The millionaire who owns giant companies, they're communists? They're a communist. Okay. Yeah. All right, I got a few minutes left, and then I'm sorry if I didn't get to everyone's thingies. There's no way I can get to all of your stuff. Aaron Sound in Houston, I would love to report that on Fidelity, I bought the stock ticker SING for 4 cents. The stock reverse split, and just in after hours today, it was delivered to me, but not as one free share. But I just made $109. The stock is at 109 for SING, turned $4 to $109. Lol. Wow. Nice job. That's best one yet. Yeah, monkey, that work? Yeah. Are you a happy little dog? Are you a happy little dog? Yeah, I didn't give you a treat yet. I should do that before we run away. I'll try to answer questions on this. Corporate walnut, how do atolls happen? Well, there's all sorts of different ways. Usually it's volcanoes. Come on. So, we can do a quick Google Earth. We've got a couple minutes left here. So Google Earth, pop up, bam. Go to scene, go bam. Go to Google Earth. And there we go. All right, so here we go. Hawaii is probably the best example to show because it's a nice line island chain. So here in Hawaii, you got volcano, blah, 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 blah. And the hot spot stays in one spot, and the Pacific plate moves over it, making new islands as it moves over it. New island, new island, new island, new island, new island, new island, and so on. And once the island gets made and it moves on, it's not building any more land. It's just going to start eroding from that point. So the islands get smaller and smaller, the further northwest you go. And as they get smaller, they're eroding away and eroding away and eroding away. And as they erode away, the stuff washes out in the ocean, the ground actually rebounds a little bit. So you can get chunks of island that were deep underwater starting to pop up above the surface. So if you go to Kauai, and you go up here into Kauai, and you go up top to top of mountains up here, you will find pillow basalt. This is basalt that was formed under the ocean. Like pillow basalt videos are really cool. Look like just turds moving around. So these hot turds flow, and you find evidence of old pillow basalt way high up, thousands of feet up in Kauai, because the island's been rebounding over the past 1.5 million years or so. But eventually you get to a point where there's not much island left, and you get seamounts. Like this is a little seamount here. There's no island, but you go 6 feet below the surface. There's a little seamount there. It was a small guy, and you can go further northwest, and you can get some little nubs. Like Nihoa is the volcanic plug. So this was the magma chamber inside of one of the volcanoes, and it never released gases, so the rock isn't porous. It's very dense and solid, and it's hard to erode away. So you get this little nub they can form that's from the old volcanic plug. And you get further above that, and as time goes on, limestone reefs really start to build up. So you can get out to like up here. We still got a couple of nubs here. Necker Island is another remnant of a volcanic nub. So So you go another couple million years into the past, and we start to get the atolls forming. So the nub is gone. There's probably a little bit of it left under the surface in the lagoon here, but the limestone reefs have been building up for millions of years, and now have created these sort of sandy shoals that form. And so this one is French frigate shoals, and you can go up, a little further, and we can get to is this one Midway? Oh, Laysan. Where's my Midway? Oh, up here. There's Midway. So we get to Midway, and of rock. They've all rotted away, and now all they have left are these little shoals, and there's just cajillions of them. Some of them are shoals inside of shoals, as you can see, and that's how the atolls form. I would love to go here one day because, my little sister got to go when she lived in Australia, and the scuba diving apparently was amazing. But there's, a lot of them. Is this where that weird city is? No, that's not the weird city. It's the capital. I forget the name of the capital. Maldives, Male. That's it. So this is like one of the densest places on Earth. They piled in like a cajillion people on this one little shoal here, and it is dense. I'm surprised they're able to make things like a soccer field and stuff, but this city is just packed to the brim with people and boats and buildings, and it's phenomenal. And they have a whole airport on one of them, and the density just keeps going. It's pretty phenomenal. Oh, it's time for me to go. If I didn't answer your questions, 1,000 apologies. Before I was stupid, I see your coordinates. We will try to get it tomorrow during Charity Tuesday. Join me tomorrow, Charity Tuesday. I will send me messages. Send me charity ideas. I'll select one tonight and set that up. And then around 9:30 p.m. Pacific, I will do an After Dark GeoGuessr if you want to join me over on Twitch. So, woo! Okay. All right. You guys cool? We're cool? All right. Everyone have a great night, great day, and boop.